Good morning, everybody. We are having so much fun. I was like, I'm pushing the button. It's like, it's not doing the thing. It's not. Hi, Carrie Twitchell. How are you?
Hello, Miss Michelle Stinson-Ross. You know, beyond the technical difficulties we are experiencing, life's good. Having a good day.
That's always good. That's always good. We're making progress.
We are.
So for those of you tuning in with us, because we're just doing all the fun things today, this is the third part of a series that Carrie Twitchell and I have been doing about getting 2021 off to a good start. We've talked about, how best to allocate, especially limited budgets in the strange year of the COVIDs, and how to make sure that you're spending both time and money in the right place. I want to continue the discussion this week on exactly how can a content audit really get the work done for you. So I know we kind of did the broad brushstrokes last week, but I really want to dive into some of the things that a content audit can surface. What are like the common things that we usually find that we need to fix when we do one of these?
Well, what's great about the content audit is that it can help you identify what's broken, right? So, you go in, you're like, okay, I know that I'm doing some things right, or we're constantly adding content, which we know is good. We don't really know if it's working for us or not, but there's stuff on there. Can we just look at all of that and see how it's performing or what it's doing for us? Which is a good place to start. Sometimes, however, you really need to take another step back and say, well, what's your goal with your content too? What are you hoping to get out of it? And if you're using your website as a sales tool, which you should be, one of your goals is conversion, right? Like you need to get leads off your website and you need to turn those leads into clients. So there are really kind of three areas where I see things kind of break in that conversion process that really hinders getting that traffic that you need, getting the leads you need, getting the conversions you need. And so that's what I'd like to talk about today is like, if these issues kind of ring true for you, like, yeah, I'm not getting any traffic. There's nothing happening on my website and my website should be selling for me. So why am I not getting traffic? So that's one thing. The second thing we could talk about is, I'm getting traffic, but I'm not getting any leads from my site. People are coming to my site. They're reading my stuff. They're checking everything out. They're not doing anything. That's another problem. And then the final problem is, I'm getting traffic. In fact, people are contacting me off my website. This is awesome, but they're not the right type of customer for me. So I don't actually end up making any sales because it's the wrong people calling me. Okay, well, the wrong leads is also an issue. So we can talk about all three of those today, just to kind of get an idea of like, well, here's probably what the problem is, and here are a couple ways to fix it.
Very good.
Yeah.
Cool, okay. Cool. I find it funny that this is exactly the discussion that you and I were having on a project that we're currently working on.
True story, though, right?
True. So let's address that first one, shall we? What if I'm just not getting, all the stuff's there, but nobody's coming? It's like Field of Dreams. I built it, but they're still not coming.
I've built it, but they're not coming. What you mean that doesn't happen, Michelle?
Oh,
you mean if you build it, they just won't show up?
All the time. What? That's like the most common thing ever.
It is. So I think there are a couple, like two main problems here. If you're not getting any traffic, there are two things, and we've got it listed here. Your first thing is optimization. Your website is not optimized properly for the type of traffic you want to get. Like, it's just not happening. And two, you're not distributing your content in a way that's actually attracting your audience. So those are two things that we look at in a content audit, right? So when we're looking at poor optimization, we're looking at, what keywords are you using on your website? What are your main keywords that you're trying to attract traffic to? If you haven't identified those, well, that's issue number one. Issue number two, if you have identified them, are you using them well within your website? And that goes to, the words on your page. It goes to the metadata behind the scenes, so your title tag and your meta description and all of that. It goes to page titles and blog post topics and all of that. Like, are you actually speaking to those keywords, not in a way that just gets the words on the page, but in a way that adds value to the words? Okay.
True.
Right.
I can go a little deeper on that
Oh
one,
yeah,
if you
do
don't
it.
mind.
Have at it, please.
So along with, okay, have I identified the keywords that are associated with my business? Am I using them? We can also get into factors where, are these terms that my potential customers are actually using? And that also has to do with location. So that could be just semantics. I talk about what I do in very technical terms, but my customers talk about it in much more general or, layman's terms.
Yeah.
Or it could have to do with location. So there are, especially for small businesses, obviously, unless you are e-com, you're probably not doing business all over the country or all over the world. Terminology that has to do with your service area is also important. And those are things that also play part of the game with like search competition. What if there's another larger business that kind of does the same thing that you do, but they don't do it in quite the same way you do, but still they're the ones that are getting all of the search traffic because they show up higher on the page. So not only am I using keywords, am I using them well in my content, but am I really going after the same type of terminology that customers use? And am I paying attention to how much competition there is on those particular terms? Because I know I've worked with clients before where we had to shift the terminology just a little bit because everybody was using that term, and we may not have even shown up on the first page of Google for it because that's just too common a term, too much competition for it.
Yeah. Oh, and you hit the nail on the head there, right? With when you said, what are my ideal audience members using when they're searching for me, right? I mean, our whole goal is to be there for our ideal audience. So if we're not showing up when they're searching for stuff that should bring us up, we've got an issue. Yeah, absolutely.
So the other part of that you said was distribution.
Yeah. So this whole "if you build it, they will come" thing is not true. You need to tell people you got it. Okay. So once you build your website, just having it out there is good, right? And if you just have it, well, then it's basically an online business card, and you can send people to it, via your email or, a business card or whatever. You can just share that URL, but you have to share the content within that too. And that's where distribution channels such as social media, like LinkedIn or Facebook or wherever your audience is hanging out, you want to be sharing your content there so they know it exists. So they can then travel over there, read your.
I don't know about you guys, but Carrie locked up.
And I know you. Go ahead. Huh?
You locked up for just a second.
Technology is our friend today. Welcome. Hey, you know what? It's Mickey Mouse's birthday today, so maybe we'll just focus on hanging out with Mickey Mouse and Minnie Mouse and just forget all of this nonsense.
Okay, so the distribution channel I did hear from you before you paused for just a moment was social media. So other than social media, what other distribution channels?
Yeah, so you have at your fingertips a lot of ways to share your website, right? So like I said, like you can actually put that in your email signature, whether you want just your main URL there, or maybe you want to send people to a very specific page on your website. Well, you can use your email signature to do that, right? So that's an easy thing. Everybody's got email. So as you're communicating with anybody, like having that there is helpful. Yeah, all of social media is super important. You can get onto websites like Reddit and Quora, these forum sites where you can engage with people. It's not social media. It's their conversation sites. So you can get onto there, have profiles, have your content in there, answer questions, link to your own content. All of that is a great way to share. There are a number of directory sites out there on the internet that may apply to you, where you could get out in front of the audience that's looking for you. There are many places to be online that aren't just your website.
Right.
And most people aren't just going to be on your website. They have to know you exist. They have to find you. And I'm curious, Michelle, outside of those main areas that I've called out, what other distribution channels do you think would benefit people to pay attention to?
So most of what you mentioned are technically organic. In other words, I need to take the time and effort to set it up and use them, but that's not something I necessarily need to pay for.
Yeah.
Advertising also constitutes as a distribution channel, and probably one of the most focused distribution channels. So what all would that include? Well, that would be search advertising. So those links at like the top of Google or Bing that say ad next to them. That's what that is. That's search advertising. There's also display advertising. So anytime you visit, say, a news media website like CNN or the Wall Street Journal or something like that, you'll notice there's advertising in there. That's display advertising. Most people use services like Google Display Advertising, so you take advantage of that. There's also social media advertising. So you can target specific messages to the people that are most interested in those messages on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, on Pinterest. Let's see. TikTok now has paid advertising. We can go into, depending on how much budget and things you have, Hulu now has self-service video advertising. There's YouTube video advertising, obviously. Some really interesting things happen when you start coordinating those things as well. So let's say you're using YouTube ads and Google display ads. You can actually use video audiences. In other words, the audience that you paid for to see an ad in YouTube, you can use it as a retargeting audience in display. So there's some really interesting things going on in there. And one of the things I want to talk about really in particular for advertising and also forum websites like Quora, where you're actually going in and answering questions, those are places that you can introduce something new. So when we talked about search and key terms and stuff like that, what if what you created was something new, something that's never been done before? Maybe you have a startup. Maybe you are launching new product that functions in a way that solves a problem, but maybe people have never heard of before. Like, it's impossible to search for something that you've never heard of before. That's where advertising comes in, particularly in social media, because I can search for people who are interested in a topic, interested in solving a particular problem, but maybe don't know the terminology around my new product or service yet. That is the opportunity to teach them language that you can then use both in organic search and paid social media. So if you think about it, that one comes back to how we as human beings learn language in the first place. We learn to speak the language that we speak because we hear it spoken by our parents, family members, siblings, that kind of stuff. As human beings, that's how we initially learn language. We learn new terminology the same way. We learn it in the social context and in the midst of conversation. So when you need to teach your potential customer base new terminology because you have a new product or a new service, or you're doing something that is just vastly different from anything that's ever happened before, the way you teach people how to find you, to know that that's a thing, is to go to social media.
Michelle, I love this. Like, I love this so much. And you and I can like dive so much deeper into this whole distribution and how to use your content in different ways. And we're going to do that. Like, I want us to continue that conversation, but for now, let's plug it, right? So we're going to continue a very focused conversation on distribution. And how to use your content in our next video. So like, as you can see, like we could get into the weeds here,
Yeah.
and we will in like a couple weeks. So stay tuned. Later, we'll tell you what, when
We'll
that's
tell you
coming.
more.
We'll tell you more.
There's more to come. There's
Um,
more to come
but,
because
yeah,
we want to make sure that you're driving traffic. But what's kind of the next problem? Let's say, hey, I got this traffic thing under control. I'm getting a lot of people visiting the page. They're looking, they're coming to the website, but they're also looking at multiple pages, but they're not filling out any forms. They're not clicking any buttons. What? They're coming,
but
then they
nothing's
don't
happening.
buy the popcorn.
Yeah,
I mean,
nothing is happening. So this is great, right? Because at least you've figured out how to get people to your website. This is a good thing. The question is, one, is it the right audience you're getting to your website? And two, are you connecting with your audience once you get there, right? So let's talk about connecting with your audience. Let's assume that all that traffic that's coming to you is the traffic you want, but they just aren't taking that next step. Well, that's likely because the actual messaging on your website is not connecting with them and is not engaging with them further. So there are two things here, probably more than two things. I'm going to say there are two things right now here.
And then Michelle's probably going to come up with more.
So then we'll come up with more and we'll just keep chatting. But there are two main things here. One, like, is your brand messaging targeted at your audience? Are you having a real conversation with them? Are you meeting them where they are and where they need you right now, right? So if your content isn't addressing who they are, what their problem is, how you can help them, you're missing the mark completely. Now, you could have most of that down and still not get leads. And here's why. You might be missing calls to action. All right, those very clear, here's what your next step is, and here's how I'm going to help you do it. If you don't also address that, you're not going to get those leads. And people might come to your site and then not do anything. So I would say, like, first and foremost, those are the two things I look at first when running a content audit is, okay, you say you're getting traffic. Why aren't people contacting you? So then I will dive deeper into the messaging on your site, looking throughout your site, remember, because anybody can land on any page of your website. Are you giving them those key marketing messages, and are you speaking to them in their language? And are you telling them what to do next on every page? If you're not, there's an issue, and that needs to be fixed. So those are the first two things I'll look at when I run a content audit, especially if there's a concern about no leads coming from the website. Is there anything you want to add to that, Michelle?
So yeah, to put this in a bit of context, what we're looking at in this case is the customer journey. We're looking at, let's say people are coming from search and they're searching for a term that you have a really brilliant blog post about. They're in kind of those first steps of the customer journey. They're discovering, oh, hey, I have an issue and I need to know more about it, right? And they find you because you have a really great explanation as to whatever issue it is that they're dealing with and things that they can do to resolve it, that kind of stuff. So they're just now kind of discovering they have a problem. They may not be ready to solve it just yet. They need to do some more research, but you've got a piece of content that really gets them along the way in providing research. So knowing that that's the purpose of coming and consuming that piece of content, what's the next step in the journey? Well, the next step in the journey may be, okay, so now that I've educated myself, what are the options? So in that case, what we want the blog post to do is also include links to other relevant things, whether that's other relevant pieces of blog content. If, for example, you sell product, are there links to relevant product that go with that? So I'm trying to come up off the top of my head with a scenario. But let's say that, you provided the research and there are several products that could address the issue that is being discussed in the blog post. Link those 3 products at the bottom of the page so that they're like, okay, I now know enough. And there's a thing. Let me see the thing. Because at that point, if they've read far enough through, they're ready to consider the thing.
Right.
Now that step may be all that they take in that moment, but guess what? If you got them to go to the product page from the blog post, your retargeting, your analytics, all that stuff tells you that, and you can specifically go back and readdress that person in retargeted social or retargeted display. There are things you can do to get that person back, but you have to understand what are the steps in the journey that I need for them to take,
Yes.
right? In other cases, I need for them to take more of the steps than I need to take of them, if that makes any sense. So let's say that somebody did land specifically on a landing page that talks about a particular product, but they didn't buy in that moment. They're still considering, maybe they want more information. Did they fill out, an email address to get on a newsletter distribution list? Is there an opportunity there for them to click a button, fill out a form, do something so that I can email them later on? You need the right conversion on the right page too.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Which is something that we want to look at. Now, if every page on your website has a form at the bottom, we might have a problem there.
Yeah, I mean, you really do need to pay attention to what's the purpose of this piece of content and what's the right next step, right? Like how far down are they in that funnel? How far are they along in their journey? And what is the right logical next step, and what do you need to put in front of them right there to make them act in the way you want them to get them to the next step? Right. So that is most definitely a key point to review, either during a content audit from our standpoint, or even just as you're going through your website on your own every year, like paying attention to, am I telling people what to do next, and am I giving them the right next step?
Right. Those seem to be the two most common things that I run into. Either, oh my goodness, this is brilliant. Why is there not a call to action on this page? Give them a chance to convert, because they probably would.
Right.
Or it's you're asking the wrong thing of them at the wrong moment. I also find one of the things that's really common is the form's too long. You're asking them for too much information for what you just get. So think of your calls to action, and particularly your forms, as a value exchange. How much value did the site page visitor get in that moment? Is that worth just collecting their email address? Or is that worth qualifying them a little bit more with additional information like, location, or I know I've worked with several clients that had to do with like medical practice and stuff like that. And we actually needed a little bit more demographic information than just an email.
Sure.
So in those cases, we were really focused on, is this the right moment in the journey to ask for more than just name and email address?
Okay, so I don't know if you just froze there or if I did.
Yay! I froze. Okay, so where did I pause?
All we heard was needed more we stopped it. We needed more demographic information.
Right. So
that's what I heard last.
Do we need more demographic information in that moment, or do we just need name and email? We want to make sure that the level of information we're asking them to give to us, that has value, right?
Yeah.
That has to do with privacy and the time it takes to fill out the form, all that kind of stuff. The more they are willing to reveal to us is dependent on, did we give them enough value to make that effort worth it for the potential customer?
Absolutely. That's great. It's great. So shall we move to our final point? I know we've been here for a while. Let's move to our final point for now. We obviously have so much more to share.
So I love this one because I frequently see people hitting just the contact page with name, email address, message, and it's spam.
Ugh. Okay, well, one, we could talk about spam filters all we want. That is not the point of this conversation, right? If you're getting a ton of spam, talk to your website developer about building in some spam filters to help you avoid all the spam, because and trust me, we all get it, because there are bots out there that can work around just about everything right now. But if you're getting nothing but spam and you're like, my website is awful because all I get is spam, it's not your website. Just build in a little bit of filters and it will get so much better almost immediately. Promise. But what we are talking about here is, say you're getting leads from real human beings. That's not spam. That's not asking just to, get whatever they can from you, or, fake you into doing things you shouldn't be doing. They're humans saying, hey, I'm curious about your service, or I'm curious about your product, or I'm interested in this app or whatever, and can we talk? And you call them and they're just like the wrong audience. It's like, okay, you do need something like this, but it's not my product. This isn't actually for you. And then that becomes kind of frustrating. One, for you, because you're spending a lot of time on, vetting phone calls where you're vetting people and not getting anywhere, that you could usually spend that time on something else. And it's also frustrating for the potential customer, because they think they found something for themselves, and then they find out that, well, I've given this person my information, we've talked, and it's not like, that's not it. Like, I don't understand. I was on their website and it seemed like it was for me. And the big disconnect here is your messaging. You have not made it clear who your ideal audience is, who the ideal person is for your service, product, app, software, whatever. You have not defined who you're looking for, and you have not spoken to that defined audience clearly enough, and you have not spoken in their language and helped them understand what they're looking for and what you can provide for them. So this really does come down to more like brand messaging and ideal customer avatar creation, and really defining what your USP is, like all of this stuff. Like, it gets back to the heart of who you are and who you're trying to serve. And if you're not delivering that message clearly and in a compelling way, and in a way that really just feels more like a conversation, so these people are really getting to feel like they know you before they contact you, you need some help. You need some help. And that really does go back to just the core of your messaging and the core of content creation.
It does. It also has to do with not so much the customer journey, but more of the sales journey, if I can make that distinction.
Yeah, go
so ahead. While customers frequently take a path of awareness, discovery, consideration, make the purchase, right? That's kind of the typical way a person goes about buying something. There's also a process on the business side of qualification.
Yeah.
So I may start fairly broadly in getting lots and lots of people to discover my new product or service that I'm launching in 2021, but not everybody is going to be either ready for it right now, or quite the right fit, or any number of things. So there's also a qualification process on the business side of all of this communication that needs to happen. We need to go from awareness to lead to possibly, depending on what your product is, you may have to go through a couple of steps of marketing qualified and sales qualified. All of those things can be done based on how much content have they consumed. Are they getting email distribution where they're getting additional information that is slightly exclusive, but it's kept exclusive in order for us to qualify them and make sure that this is the right moment in time for them to take action on this. So I very frequently find that although we may be talking to basically the right person, the timing might not be right. They might not have the budget for what it is we do. Like, SaaS in particular makes me think of this, that, we have a great tool set, we have a great suite of software, but the person that I'm talking to, their company either doesn't have the budget, or they're not quite there as far as level of need for the sophisticated type service that we offer. Those are things that are done through the qualification process, and hopefully do not require your salespeople to get on the phone and be spending a lot of time and a lot of effort just to qualify them. If that makes any sense.
Oh, yes.
So there are things that we can do through the process of looking at not only your publicly facing content, but also your email content, your like workflows for email distribution.
Mhm.
If the customer has done this, this, and this, they are qualified to receive that. That if then that type formulaic drip feed is also something that we can look at.
Mhm. Mhm. Awesome. Awesome. We've covered a lot of ground today.
We really have.
I feel like this was really a lot. So if y'all have questions, drop them in the comments. You know, even if you don't catch us here live for us to answer while we're sitting here, we will definitely be back into the comments responding to your questions. So let us know. Let us know if there's anything you say, wait, y'all said this. Can you explain a little bit or provide more of an explanation or whatever you need? Let us know, because we did cover a lot in a short period of time here. But next time, there is a next time. We're not done.
There is a next time, but before we get to next time, I also want to say that if this has been enough information already that you're like, wait a second, okay, now I get it. I need to know more. We also have provided links to the information about content audits on the Custom Content Solution website. If that's the next logical step for you to take, please go visit, delve a little deeper, and hit us up on the website. There is a form there. Yes,
there's a form there, right?
Right. So I want to make sure that I say there is more information for you to consume on your own. You don't have to wait until after Thanksgiving. You can go educate yourself further right now. But there is still there's more.
Wait, there's more.
I had to go there.
Wait, there's more.
Wait, there's more. All right. So after the Thanksgiving holiday, Miss Carrie Twitchell.
Yes, ma'am.
What comes next?
Oh, we're gonna come back here and chat some more. We just can't help it. We geek out on this. If you can't tell, we are full-on marketing nerds, and we love to chat about this, and we love to pick each other's brains about it and just play off each other. So we're gonna come back and do this again, because we just can't help it. And hopefully you're finding this valuable. So after the Thanksgiving break, so early December, we will be back here with you again. And this time we are going to dive even deeper into distribution. I may have to get some actual reins to be able to pull that conversation back when we need to, so we don't just talk all day. But we are going to come back here and talk about distribution and what to do with your content once you have it, and the different channels you can use to reach your audience. So all of that is going to come in our next chat. Hopefully it won't be 2 hours long. We all have things to do.
This wasn't even 2 hours long. Not anywhere close.
Oh, so she says now. She says now.
Glad.
Basically closed all week next week. So we will come back after we are all rested and after we have all enjoyed lots of good food and just relaxation. And we will come back and chat more with you then.
Okay. Well, I don't want to wrap this just yet because there is one more thing.
Oh, well now, well, should we do it now? Should we do it now?
Yes, we should do it now.
Okay.
You said Thanksgiving, and that made me think of Small Business Saturday.
Let's do it now. Let's just do it now before you do. Okay, so since y'all are here, and we're on off the cuff, man. This is how we're going. So Thanksgiving is next week, which also comes after Thanksgiving is, Black Friday sales. And then after Black Friday is Small Business Saturday. And as a small business myself, Miss Michelle has a small business. As small business owners ourselves, we firmly believe in supporting small business. And so here at Custom Content Solutions, we are doing our very first Small Business Saturday promotion. So Small Business Saturday special right here for you. We've been talking all about website audits. If you're interested in having my team dive into an audit, if you want to tag, Miss Michelle in here too, and we can both tackle your audit together, let me know. We are offering a 10% off discount. We will apply that to any website audit order actually through the end of the year, just because Small Business Saturday is one day. We're going to keep that promo going for the rest of the year. 10% off any website content audit request. It doesn't mean we have to have it done by the end of the year, but if you want in and you want that 10% off, let us know by the end of December, and we will get you in. We'll help you out.
Congratulations, you heard it here first.
Yeah, you did. We did it. I guess we just shared it here first. That's just what it is.
So there will be more coming out as far as information and all that kind of good stuff, because we don't want you to go land on a page and go, wait a minute, where was that discount?
What
Hacked it.
discount? I thought I heard something about that.
Yeah, we're gonna make sure we got you covered. But exclusive, you heard it here
Right
first.
here. We did it here
All
first.
Business Saturday discount on audits. Thank you. You're welcome.
Oh my
Carrie,
gosh. Yes, ma'am.
we might be off the rails.
I feel like we need to go now. If you have stuck with us for this whole video, bless you. Thank you for being here with us. Thank you for tuning in today. Again, any questions, drop them in the comments. You know, hit us up in Messenger. Send us a form off our website. However you want to contact us, just reach out. We are here and happy to help.
And with that, we bid you adieu until after Thanksgiving.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.